everybody, and welcome. Ed, thank you for being here. As always, my friend, bestest, and most loyal co-host. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm happy to be here. One of us is lagging out.
Some hellos real quick, and then I've got what I think is going to be a channel. You there? We good? We good? You there? This isn't going to be another lefty stream, is it? Okay.
I don't know.
Sacred Aquatics 2, Dragolair, Posiwi, T-Bone, thank you all for being here. Scroll on down. I know I saw there's Sarah Lynn Snow in the chat. Lazarus the Fish Boy is here with us as well. Keith Hanshaw, which I think went to go get a snack. Dank Tanks, yo, what's up? Getting on down to the bottom. William Pride Moore, thank you for being here as well. Brad, sorry I missed you the first go around. Thank you all for being here. So today, as you all saw the title, Stop Killing Your Fish. Now, there are a lot of different ways that people kill fish mistakenly. A lot of mistakes that are made. The big thing I wanted to talk about today is chasing a number, trying to get that perfect number in your home aquarium. And there are a lot of different ways we do it, whether it's via pH or temperature. Some other things that we're going to in mind. I don't know why I had to lag out for a second, but I encourage people to keep in mind the fact that nature has variables in it. They're not drastic, immediate variables, but there are variables in nature. So try and keep that in mind. Nature doesn't have a perfect number that it always sits at in terms of water parameters for our fish with any of those things. One of the biggest things that I found, Ed, is pH. A lot of people are constantly chasing pH, and I'm sure you've probably noticed that as well in the hobby.
Yeah, a lot of new people really go after the numbers like crazy, and I try to tell them, just stop adding things and let it sit for a while.
That's exactly it. There are chemicals like pH up and pH down. I don't recommend using those. What I recommend is things that will buff. I don't know why I'm buffering again.
I thought it was me. That's why I'm not talking, because I think I'm buffering instead of you.
I don't know. Let's see. Somebody let me know. Miss Fever's here. Miss Fever, if you could get the kids off of all the internet things, that'd be great. I don't know why. I'm hardwired in. It may just be a StreamYard issue because we've got the Primo Deluxe package, so we should be good. Regardless, when it comes to pH, there are things like if you're trying to bring your pH up, you can use crushed coral to buffer it versus going for a chemical to try and increase that number. Generally, they say about a pound per 10 gallons of water, and that's something that's going to slowly bring your numbers up and keep them consistent, bearing in mind that you do need to replace crushed coral from time to time as it wears down. So on the flip side of that, you have things like trying to lower your pH. Susan says it's the internet gremlins. It may very...
Normally it's me, and I'm paranoid that it is me. And I'm actually in limbo, and he's talking normal.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep getting a buffering circle. I'm hardwired in. Nobody else is on the internet. I don't know. I can try one thing here, and we'll see if it helps. Let's and see. It says I have excellent connection on YouTube. This is great. See, this is why I don't prepare topics, because things like this happen, and it throws you off a lot more versus if you're just rambling about the chat. It says excellent connection. So,
yeah, I have excellent connection too, but the last couple of days I've been, stumbled a couple times.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I wonder if it's a StreamYard thing. Rockford says SEAL Team 6 going to get fish room fever. So let's try this again. Actually, here, let's do this real quick.
Hey guys, so today our topic is going to be on food, and is high protein good or not? I'm doing this just to really mess up James's.
All right.
I just changed our subject.
Goes. Perfect. I'm going to change it back. But so if you're trying to bring your pH down, you can try things such as adding driftwood. Tannins, a lot of people don't like the look of tannins, but you can do water changes to kind of decrease the thickness of tannins, if you will. But you can do things like driftwood, you can do peat moss, you could do other botanicals to bring that pH down without using a chemical element to change things up. And pull my chat back so I've got it off to the side here.
A lot of substrates will pull it down too.
Yeah, you've got a lot of options besides just using a chemical to somebody said get off the phone. I'm going to make sure I shouldn't be. Yeah, I'm not on our Wi-Fi. I don't know. Normally I can run like 5 devices. Bill said Miss Fever's live streaming on her channel. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. But yeah, so I encourage people to try those things, especially new hobbyists. If you're a more experienced hobbyist and you want to dabble in those things, I have nothing against it. But for somebody that is new into the hobby, getting them to chase numbers chemically is usually a bad idea. They have enough that they're trying to learn when they first get started without adding those type of things on top of there. Another thing that I find a lot of people will tinker with, if you will, is temperature, trying to get it just right. You know, people will be, especially when people are first starting out, they're trying to get that perfect temperature for that fish. And you've got to remember there are temperature variables in nature. Even just case in point, I'm sure most of you have gone, to a lake before. You go in and the water is warmer up top and then it's colder the lower down you get. There are variables in nature. So just keep that in mind when you're setting up your heaters, if you're using heaters or whatever you're using to direct the temperature of your tanks. That small, slow swings, gradual changes in temperature are not going to impact your fish nearly as much as you constantly, I got to crank the heater up. Oh, I got to drop it down. Oh, I got to crank it back up. Things like that. I've seen people do that, and it can be disastrous. And it's also a good way to burn out a heater potentially. So just keep that in mind. I've got a fairly constant temperature in the fish rooms, but the tanks fluctuate throughout the day as, the house warms up, the house cools down. Even with central heat and air, you still get a slight swing in temperatures. I'm sure you probably noticed the same, that, a slow swing is not nearly as bad as you trying to constantly compensate for it by cranking up heaters or doing cold water changes nonstop. I will say, and I want to, I guess, kind of put out there, I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to make things better for your fish or fix a problem if you see a problem, but I think a lot of times we create problems, and that's the big thing that I'm going for tonight.
Generally, how I've always done the temperature is I wait. Like I never check it, and as soon as the fish start acting a little weird, that's when I check it. Like if you got guppies that are normally just all about eating and they're all being lethargic, it's probably cold, so. Yep. And only one time have I ever, I always thought it was a myth about the heaters getting too hot and breaking, and I actually had it happen to me. And I had a tank get too hot and killed a couple of my inlers.
Yeah, it sucks when it happens, and it sounds crazy until it's happened to you, and you're like, oh, maybe I do need to watch out for that. Another thing that I find a lot is with medications. When fish get sick, people will try and fix it quickly versus accurately. So they'll grab a bottle of meds and they'll dose it, and then they're still looking to try and fix it. And so 6 hours later, they're multi-dosing. They're adding another medicine and going, well, maybe this will help too. Maybe I should throw in a little of that. Or another one that I see fairly commonly is, well, I treated the tank with this medication. We'll just say, medication Y. The next morning, everything's not better, so I'm going to treat it with medication Z instead. Give things a chance to work. read the directions, do the appropriate water changes, do the appropriate dosing, and just let that medicine take its course before you instantly jump to another medicine. The caveat with that being that if you treat for, virus A, and it ends up that you realize after that, oh, it's actually bacteria B, then yes, you need to switch medications and do the appropriate water changes to be able to do that dosing. But don't randomly guess a dose. Oh, well, this didn't work. It's kind of like if you have a headache and you take ibuprofen and then 10 minutes later you go, well, that's not working. Now I need some Tylenol. Let me throw that in there. And oh, no, that's not working. Now I need some Aleve 10 minutes after that. I see a lot of that happening with fish medication dosing, and that can definitely be very bad. Would you agree, Mr. Ed?
I do. I concur.
I'm trying to get you into this conversation a little bit more.
Yeah, and remember to do your water changes when you're doing the dosing of all those meds too.
Absolutely. So that's doing the water changes kind of plays into the next thing I wanted to talk about that I see fairly commonly messed up, and that's screwing with your cycle. That could be anything from, now when I say overfeeding, I want to clarify, because people would say I overfeed, but I never feed enough for it to sit on the bottom, and there's never extra food rotting. So when I say overfeed, I mean you're feeding more than your fish will eat. I might feed my fish more than a lot of people would, but my fish eat all of it. And I have the beneficial bacteria built up to be able to handle it. And then we have things like plants to help with the end of the cycle. And knowing the nitrogen cycle is very important as well. But you have things like overfeeding, and then that can lead to, you get really high nitrates. And a thing that a lot of people don't realize is you can do just as much harm to your fish by doing a massive water change. To say, your fish are looking funny, because that's generally the indicator for most people. Something doesn't look right. People that have been around, like you said, can catch it quicker than most just by small behavioral changes. So you test it and your nitrates are through the roof. So you go, oh my God, my nitrates are ridiculously high. I'm going to do a 90% water change to fix that. That's not necessarily the best way to approach that, because you can actually harm your fish from nitrate shock by lowering it too quickly as well. So you're much better off to do maybe a 50% or a 30% or 25%, depending upon what your numbers are, versus going, oh my God, my nitrates are 100. I need to do a 90% water change. Taking things like that into consideration, because you've taken the fish from a bad situation into what you thought was a really good situation, not having realized that they can suffer from nitrate shock, and that it is almost just as harming to drop the numbers rapidly as it is to have high numbers in the first place. And I didn't know about that for a long time in the hobby. Of course, I've never really had a lot of issues with having to drop high nitrates quick, but that's something that I find quite a few people don't realize until after the fact that they have a problem. So, but like you said, consistent water changes is a big thing. And Ed, I know you've had some experience with this one, not you personally, but people that have talked to you, over cleaning your aquariums, over cleaning the substrate, pulling out and, scrubbing all the filters. Yeah. Oh yeah. Boiling stuff. When we clean our tanks, it's not necessarily to the same specifications that we might say, clean our kitchen counter. We're not looking for sanitary. We're just looking to get rid of some of the mess. So you want to keep that in mind, that you're not, once again, messing with your cycle, pulling out all of this beneficial bacteria that's in your filter medias and on your decorations. Ed, you said that you do someone that was constantly boiling their stuff.
Yeah, I have a friend in St. Louis, and I kept explaining to her about what beneficial bacteria is. And all she heard was bacteria. I got to get it off, and she would boil even her gravel. She would boil everything, her fake plants. So I finally, what I did was I bought her live plants, and we put it in there so she couldn't clean them. So there's at least, but then she would lose fish every time she did this. And it just drove me crazy. I was trying to always explain to her, and I mean, she still has fish today, so I think she's relaxed some, but I still think she boils some of her stuff. Like, I think she still boils the rocks and stuff, not her gravel, because now she has some plants and stuff. But yep.
Well, and I never boiled stuff, but I will confess I used to be a lot more vigilant in terms of cleaning out my hang-on back filter media and stuff than I am now. Like, there was a point in time where I did that. I'd take it to the sink and I'd scrub everything out, not necessarily with chemicals, but I'd scrub it all with, chlorinated tap water, and rinse my sponges really good. I think at some point, just about everybody has made some kind of goof up in the hobby, and you live and you learn, and that's the big thing. And that's why I wanted to talk about this today. Was not to lecture people. I know the topic was kind of a little shocking compared to like what I normally do, but I felt that it was something that could hopefully help some people, and maybe some people will stumble across this. Initially, I was going to pull this first part of the live stream out and make it its own little video for people to watch and hopefully help. But with all the buffering issues, I don't know that I'll do that. But
my first canister filter I ever had, I didn't quite know how it worked. It was called I think a Magnum or something. It was
the
like
Magnum 350s. Yeah,
clear thing. It looked like a blender.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to clean that almost every other week because I just wasn't for sure how it was working. But I kept so much charcoal in it. I think I was just cleaning water with charcoal, But yeah, I was over cleaning that thing.
Absolutely. Those are the biggest things that I've noticed. There are other things that we could get into, such as Priscilla had mentioned, trying to explain you're going to have algae. We could get into plants and lighting and constantly fiddling with lighting. That doesn't necessarily harm your fish as much, but definitely people do that quite a bit. They get into, oh, well, let me crank up the light. Oh, let me drop it back down. Try and find a nice, consistent level that you could use. And I think those are, I guess, my 3 takeaways for the hobby is just worry about consistency, gradual adjustments, unless there's some sort of life-saving requirement, needed. And then patience. And I know we all hate that P word, but patience is a big one. So hopefully somebody will come across that and it will help in some aspect. And I hope you all enjoyed the little talk for today. That was a little different than normal. I do want to dive into the chat though now. Or before I do that, Ed, do you have anything else that you wanted to add to that in terms of
No, I appreciate everything you said. And I mean, we could talk about ways to bring pH up and down all day long too. So I mean, that could be a whole show. Like I was just looking across my room. I've got substrates for bringing it down. I've got a bunch of wood and stuff, different things to bring it down. But then at the same time, I've also got crushed coral that I like to put in a bag if I need to put it in a tank, or crushed shells. So yeah. And I don't chase it. It just happens to be that I have stuff that brings it down because it's stuff that looks pretty in your tank, But the stuff that brings it up, I do that every so often just for my guppies to be nice. Absolutely.
But even then, you're using generally a buffering media of some sort. It's slowly raising things. It's not a dramatic swing. And I guess that's the biggest point, is in all those aspects, you want to avoid dramatic swings, whether it's temperatures or shifting medications or massive influxes of or removal of biological beneficial bacteria. You want to try and avoid sudden dramatic changes in all those aspects. Grumpy Mike, I did not miss you earlier, my friend. I wanted to get through the main topic real quick. Thank you very much for the super pooper chat. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for being here. And I'm sure we've got some questions and comments and things in the chat that we can get to. So let's jump on into that. Rockford Fish Keeping says, Fisher Fever, how do you clean a sponge from a sick QT tank? So if it's coming out of a quarantine tank, that is something I will sterilize. That is one of the few times that I will not. So generally when I clean my sponges, I clean them in old tank water. I'll do it while I'm doing a water change. You can either do it in a bucket, or like I have a Python setup, so a lot of times I'll get the Python running. I'll pull my sponges. I'll go to the tub that drains into, and I'll clean my sponges in that water that's coming out of the Python hose. However, if it's something that has been in with sick fish, and I haven't gotten the fish healthy, because you did say coming from a sick QT tank. There are two ways to go here. If it's being cleaned so it can be reused in a different tank, I would sterilize it, and then I would get it down into another tank after it's sterile. It's not going to spread disease, and let it start building bacteria. If you were cleaning it in a sick tank to go back into the QT tank, do it with the water change. Pull some of that water out of that quarantine tank, squish it out in there, get it cleaned, and then put it back in. Usually, a lot of times, generally speaking, a sponge filter is not going to get dirty enough to need a squeezing cleaning in the amount of time that you're trying to get a fish better. Usually, there are variables in cases that it can take longer to get a fish healthy, but generally speaking, a sponge isn't going to need to be squeezed during that QT process. Ed, your thoughts, sir?
I was typing. For how to clean out a fish tank after things have been sick?
It was phrased, Fish Fever, how would you clean a sponge from a sick QT tank? So I went on both. I went on the premise that the tank was sick, the fish died, and now I want to clean the sponge for use in a good tank. And then I also addressed if it was cleaning it to go back into that sick QT tank. So
you know what? I keep a quarantine tank, and I literally just pitched the sponge when I was moving in here instead of even worrying about it. I didn't have any sick fish. I just didn't want to deal with it. And I got a whole mess of sponge filters. I know that's probably not the best thing to do. But.
Hey, Mob Guppy, how are you? Mob Guppy says, I cleaned my filter media in treated water. So there you go.
I've got a question for everybody for pH. Rockford was talking about rainwater is a great way to get low pH.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it was always a belief that you don't use your dehydrate or your dehumidifier water for your fish tanks because they used to use copper in them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're probably using copper. We talked a little bit about this on Anthony's Fishy Friends last night, and he was thinking they might put zinc in there. But does anybody use that water? I don't really need soft water, but I was just thinking of a way to not waste the water is if I could collect it.
Yeah, that's a lot of water that comes out of those things.
Oh, I'm doing about 4 gallons a day. So, and I've got a ceiling fan pumping humidity out 24/7. The only time it doesn't pump is while we're talking because it's the loudest thing in my fish room.
Yeah, and that's what I've got similar. I've got the dehem running the dehumidifier, and then I've got the bathroom that is linked to all the fish rooms. I try and keep the overhead vent in that running all the time so that it's pulling some of that out. But yeah, it'd be nice to be able to use that water for other purposes. Chewy LTD, how's it going, my friend? Is asking if I'm thinking of getting into the other side of the hobby, as in the cold water native fish. Possibly. I will say right now, most of the expansion is geared towards bettas and guppies and setting up some breeding tanks. There is going to be a shell dweller tank. Sean WOTD finally got me talked into that. So we're going to set up a shelly tank. I'm not going to give an exact date because I don't want to miss it. But that is coming in the future. But it's possible, Chewy. You never know. I definitely could.
I hope you don't mind, but while Mod Guppy's here, he had a horse racing in the Kentucky Derby today.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering how it did. If you could just type what he, if he came in first or third or 10th, and if it came in 10th, you don't have to say anything. But okay, we can go back to this.
So Mob Guppy had mentioned using crushed coral to raise pH, which is one of the things that we talked about earlier. Absolutely. Yep. I find that to be the most common to be able to do that. So definitely. And Susan's got a good point. She says she throws away sponges after treating for the Camellinus redworms. So just depending upon what you're treating, whether you've actually beaten it, and if there's any potential to spread disease or infection to other fish, sometimes it is just best to toss a sponge out.
Yeah, I've never had redworms. Have you?
I have not, thank goodness, knock on wood.
I would probably just burn everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
why
my approach to columnaris is just kill it with fire. Just burn it.
That's why I'm so paranoid about these wild caught fish we caught.
Yeah, I definitely would make sure that once they're really good and strong, give them a nice treatment, give them a dewormer and all that good stuff just to clear them out.
Yeah, I'm thinking in another week.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Rockford Fish Keeping says, I should have said sterilize and not clean. My thinking, my normal bleach and water would eat the sponge. So you don't even necessarily have to do that. You can, and I think usually people will go with 1/10 bleach dilution, or even 1/20th, I've heard sometimes. But generally what I will do, if I don't feel that I need to bleach something, usually what I'll do is I'll just give it a really good soak and clean in some chlorinated water several times, and then just let it fully dry out, completely dry to where I know there's absolutely nothing. There's no moisture left in it. There's no way anything that requires moisture or an underwater environment could possibly be living in it still. And then you can toss it into another tank to start gathering beneficial bacteria again. And there, Mob Guppy's got the answer there. Said a horse was not in the Derby. He was in the 6th race, came in 6th, but he was close to the front, so it was good. Very nice.
Maybe the Derby is just the final race. I thought it was all the Derby. Like the whole day was the Derby.
I have absolutely no clue.
I've only been to one horse race, and it was a bachelor party. Sorry, go ahead.
Rockford's telling you to yell, to point and yell.
I know.
I'm clean.
I know. I smiled when I did. The poor little fish have been going through a lot. They were basically saltwater fish, and they're brackish now, and hopefully someday they'll be freshwater.
Yeah, well, they were fairly high mineral content, but there wasn't a lot of salinity. But the salt to treat the aquariums adds salinity along with the mineral content. It's weird.
I don't know if any bacteria would even or any if they parasites could live on them in that water they were in.
I would primarily, and this is just in my opinion, as are all things, I would primarily be concerned about internal worms. Internal parasites would be my biggest worry about spreading that or getting rid of those. Mob Guppy mentioned using diluted hydrogen peroxide. Yes, H2O2 is a wonderful thing. I keep several bottles of it on hand for the fish room. Another wonderful idea. Chewy LTD says, on the other side, cold water, fish room fever. I have been studying the fauna and floral of Lake Baikal in Siberia. All of those fish would be dangerous in Canada, but where you are at, you need chill. And so we set up one of those tanks directly over an air vent and let the AC keep the tanks cold. I've done that before for saltwater, actually, in place of a saltwater chiller. So there's a little hack for you if you've got floor vents on your central heat and air setup. Go through here. That was not for me. Mom Guppy says, final race is the Derby. They call it Derby Day at Churchill Downs. Chattanooga had fish room fever.
I was telling my mom and dad about that horse that he has. And then my dad, after my mom left, told me about one of their first dates. It was like a double date, and they went to the horse tracks in Nebraska. And it's like the horse track is named the opposite way of spelling Nebraska. I can't think of what it's called. But my mom had a dream about betting on this one horse, and she gave her $2 to my dad to bet on it. And he bet on a different horse because he thought he knew better, and her horse won. And he's never taken her to the horse tracks. They've never been back.
I remember you telling me about that. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure she wasn't happy about that.
That's so funny.
Hello, Marwani's Tanks. I'm sure I messed that up. I appreciate you being here. I do want to say real quick, a huge thank you to you all. We are getting really close to 1,700 subscribers, so I appreciate that. And we are only one member away from unlocking our next emoji. So thank you very, very much. Very cool. Very much appreciated. the end of this month, we will be coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the channel, and it just amazes me how awesome you all are, and how far we've grown from then. So I will be doing a full fish room tour, including the expansions and all of that stuff, so that we can kind of look at where it started and where we are now. I've got a lot more guppies since then, I'll tell you that much.
Good decision.
Yeah. And I realized I actually watched that very first video last night again. I had guppies when I very first started on the channel. It was like right after I had first gotten some guppies, but they were just the generic Petco guppies, or the local fish store guppies. None of the fancy lines like what you've got me into now. So thank you, Ed, for pushing me into the fancy ones.
But that was still a nice tank. He had like Jungle Val or something in, and they just swam all through it. I liked it.
That tank right there. Yeah, it's changed a little bit, but yeah, absolutely. One thing I did find. Look at that. J-Dog 67. Welcome to Team Bristlenose, becoming a member. Thank you, my friend. That means we have just unlocked another emoji. So I will be sure afterwards. Color Guppy says Guppies are the best, not biased at all. Yeah. After we get done with the stream, I'll go into the members section and we will put up a link, or not a link, but I guess a poll or a post, and let you all kind of discuss what you would like to see as the next member emoji. J-Dog, again, thank you. Be sure to check out the members only content when you get a chance. I think you'll enjoy some of that stuff. And don't forget, you've got access now to the members only emojis, like Mrs. Fever's throwing out in the chat, as well as when you are posting comments on videos. So I hope you enjoy, and I do appreciate you, my friend.
I was just thinking I probably should have made my name Chattanooga Guppy.
Chattanooga Guppy.
Oh, well.
Oh, I mean, I like
the Ed fits real well on the sticker.
It does. It does. I like yours. Susan says January 7th is my channel's anniversary. 6 years now.
That's awesome, Susan.
That is. Congratulations on that. Yeah, I'm super stoked. I didn't think we would be where we're at, a year down the road when I did my first video. So I just want you to know how much I appreciate you all. I was thinking about that a lot last night. Love you guys. Thank you. Pew Fish Zone, hello, first time seeing your name here. Says Fish Room Fever, do you know why male platies get worms or parasites when my females never have problems? Now, Ed, you've been in the live bear game a lot longer than I have. Do you have any experience with just one sex of platies getting, or one sex of fish getting worms and another not?
I don't know a ton about platies. I only got one tank of fry platies. I'm pretty sure that platies have like a lot more intestines than a lot of your other fish, and maybe females are just bigger and can handle it better. I don't know, because my female platy. Whoa, no, that's my mollies that are huge females. I'm trying to think. I don't know why. That's weird. Maybe the boys just like to eat more poop.
Possibly.
I know that sounds terrible, but they're always. Some fish are always kind of chasing behind other fish. And maybe as terrible as it sounds, maybe the boy platies like to chase behind the girls or eat the poop more. And it probably gives them a better, higher risk of it. I don't know. That's strictly off the cuff. No clue for sure. I'd never actually heard that.
I've not either. The only other thing that I could possibly think would be, and I don't know the background to the fish. If, the fish were bought where like they're sexed out at the store, you've got the males in one tank, the females in another. And then they were exposed to worms in that tank, the males only in the female tank wasn't, potentially something along those lines. But that's the first time I've heard of it happening like that.
They don't split platies though. They don't split guppies, really. It's just platies and mollies are always all together. Generally,
I guess, yeah. I mean, I've not been in every store in the country, but yeah, that's
possible. Well, yeah, maybe it's a store that just does not want fry, and they actually separate them.
Yeah, and that's, I think, Diego. Somebody was talking about the stores separating out the live bearers. That way they don't produce fry because they can't sell the fry. So they just generally are like, oh, here, you're buying one, have some fry. You want these guys?
That'd be like a dream come true.
I had that happen before when I got some guppies. Again, back when I first got started with the box store guppies. I was like, oh, there's little babies. And she's like, yeah, do you want them? We can't sell them. You can have them. And I'm like, okay. I'm not going to complain.
Heck yeah.
So,
heck, I bought like 30 fry. I have no idea what they're going to be at that fish swap. It was just, this guy had bagged 2 fry in each bag of guppies. And he was selling them for what, 50 cents a piece?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Funny. So I bought the whole box. He's probably thinking I should have just put them all in one big bag.
I don't blame you. I am curious because you got some of those red mosaics as well at that, didn't you?
Yes.
Are all of your females like a really bright blue?
Well, the one I only had one. Basically, I bought only. Stop it. One bag, and most of them were either young or females. Okay. And one of the boys has got a red mosaic tail that's growing. So I don't know. I'll have to look.
I'm just curious because I have the one male that's got a really nice red mosaic tail, and then I've got about 30 females that all have a really nice blue. So I've actually taken some of those females for another genetics project that we're going to experiment with.
Yeah, it's really bizarre how we could get that guy had so many male or females.
Yeah. Where was it? Oh, that's where I was. Mom Guppy saying, give a big thumbs up, people. I appreciate that. We've actually got 57 people watching and 42 thumbs ups. You all are awesome. Thank you very, very much for that. I do appreciate it. Get back into this. Make sure I didn't miss anything else there. Mr. Fish Sir Brad says, Ed, tell the temp acclimation comparison with swimming pool.
Who said that?
Mr. Fish Sir Brad.
Well, he was trying to, oh boy, Brad and I discussed this yesterday, and I said, yeah, I would use that analogy someday, but now he's put me on the spot. But you know how it feels, you think that these tanks are all warm because we're heating them to 77 or 81 or whatever. Yesterday, I jumped into the pool and I about froze my butt off, and I checked the temperature and it said 86 degrees. And so it's bizarre how, the change, I don't know. I'm not doing this analogy justice right now. But it's strange how things can be so different. Like how a temperature you think is so much warmer is actually not nearly as much as we think. And that would have been a lot smoother if I had planned that out and brought it up when you were talking about chasing temperatures.
Yeah, you're talking about relativity and how we experience things. Yeah, so no, I could definitely understand that because you've got to figure, our body's, 98.6 is the golden standard. So anything that's below that is going to seem colder, even though, like you said, something like 78, 80 degrees is warm in terms of tank. It's not necessarily hot. I don't want to say warm as in dangerous warm, but, those are not cold water fish at 80 degrees. Those are warmer watered fish. So, yeah, that is definitely interesting. Pew Fish Zone says Fisher and Fever and Platies are tank raised. Also, of any clubs in the Middle Tennessee area. And hello, KG Sicklets. How's it going, my friend? Ed, you've been out to Middle Tennessee a bit more than I have. What's going on, Haley, at Oddball? Do you know of any clubs out there?
There was a club trying to start up in in Cooksville, I believe. You'll have to type in Cooksville Fish Club and see. Excuse me. I think they may have put it all on hold because they had one meeting and then the COVA hit. So I'm thinking they just decided to just not do it until after COVA. So I'm waiting to hear Cookville information. That's kind of like north of me and west of him. But there's nothing that I know of in Nashville, nothing in Clarksville. Chattanooga has like a little meetup, but it's not like they don't have a Babbitt program or anything. It's just kind of a meetup. I think Knoxville was trying to do a little meetup. I don't know how that went. But once this whole sickness goes away, we're going to go back to our Tennessee Fish Mafia, and it's where us YouTubers go to a different place. I think we were talking about doing it quarterly. And we had one of them last year in Knoxville. And that's where we all hung out. And James's fish store is he's such a great guy, Kenny. He let us go aquatic marine. Yep. And he set up tables in the place. We got to sit around and talk and eat sandwiches. And we hung out there for probably 4 or 5 hours. It was a really good time. And then we were planning on doing an aquarium visit to the Tennessee Aquarium in Chattanooga, which we had to cancel because the aquarium shut down. And then we also had a second meeting planned for Murfreesboro to go to the Deep South Fish or Guppy Show. Mm-hmm. And we had to cancel that because, of course, the Guppy Show was canceled. So it's just a really tough time if you're trying to grow stuff and nothing's been established right now. So we're just trying.
To readdress the first part of that, again, I don't know of any reason why only males would be having issues, but we've got over 60 other people in here. If anybody else has an idea, feel free to throw that out there. We are not up here because we are the definitive, holy grails of knowledge. We're up here because we're two idiots that don't mind looking like idiots on the camera, right?
He's so right. We just want to talk fish.
Yeah.
We both love fish. We know a little bit, and you guys know a lot, and we all share it together, and then we all learn something.
That's community. Maria Z with the $5 super chat. I almost forgot. I got out of the swing of things. Here you go, Maria. I know that you were looking for the boa for that. I got some glasses somewhere. I'll grab those and do the party popper. Thank you for posting Aquatic Marine's Instagram. Kenny at Aquatic Marine. He is an awesome guy. He's a big time hobbyist, and that store is constantly changing. Normally I'd go there like every other Monday to do a tour. This is from Maria Z, who had the $5 super chat saying, sorry, I'm late, guys. We're glad to have you here, Maria, and thank you. But I'm actually going to have Guppy Guru on Monday's stream, so be on the lookout for that. And then probably the Monday after that, we'll go do another tour at Aquatic Marine.
That's super cool. I was thinking of, who was it looking for a club? Because I know Lexington, depending on where he is, like if he's in Clarksville, he could go to Lexington, Kentucky. They have a club. Cincinnati has a great club, and so does Indianapolis.
That was Pew Fish Zone.
Cool. So Pew, let us know where you're from. And I wonder if Dirty Platty would know anything about the male versus female worms. So bizarre. Hey, Tiffany. She's one of the mafia.
Deb Hall D says our 2 local fish clubs are having a parking lot swap September 26th. That is awesome.
Ooh, where at?
Yeah, where it's going to be. Well, and don't forget, we've got the CCAC up at Indianapolis is having their event, I think the 27th of September.
Yeah.
That was a blast last time. And, of course, you can't beat going to see Lucas's house.
Yeah.
Where did it go? That was not a question for me, so I'll keep my nose out of it. Chewy is always having a fantastic conversation with people in the chat. Chewy's got so much knowledge and information. I'll tell you what, if you didn't know it, Chewy LTD, he's got his own channel. He does a variety of stuff, but he's got so much knowledge on so many different topics. I said other, but it includes fish, so many different topics. I encourage you to go check him out just because he's got some really cool stuff. And he's a good guy.
Tiffany said she's never heard her name in the mafia, the Tennessee Fish Mafia.
Oh, Tiffany's in the mafia. We got to be nice. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Priscilla MK with the $5 super chat says, heard Colorado is cool with all the little upside down, winky, laughy, smiley faces. Thank you, Priscilla. One day we're going to have to get out there, Ed. One of these days.
I concur, because Priscilla is so cool. You don't need a fish club if you got Priscilla in your town.
This is true.
you can just go hang out with Priscilla and learn, because she knows things. But if we go, we have to make sure that we don't tell my relatives, because I don't want to visit them.
That's great. Let's see. Sickless23 says, I think some folks took them from Bama release, some in Tennessee, waters back. Oh, he's still having his conversation with Chewy. That's why I was trying to avoid that, because I'm coming in mid-conversation. It just looked interesting. So I haven't seen anybody with an answer to that Platy question. That's really stumping me. I'm sorry I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I wonder if Priscilla would know. She knows a whole bunch of.
Yeah, Priscilla knows everything.
Yeah, when you work at a fish store, you get asked a lot of things or get exposed to a lot more things than the standard guy.
Absolutely.
So, Priscilla.
Maria Z, I just started to pull the glasses off. Thank you, Maria Z. Love you. You're awesome. With the $5 super chat, just to say hello to anyone and everyone I missed. So, Maria, thank you for that. And to everybody that is in here that she may have not said hello to, Maria Z says hello. She's glad to see you. Oh, that was lame. We're going to do another one. That one just barely made it to the monitor. Shy's better at this, as I was told, so we'll have to get her back in here. Thank you again, Maria Z. I do really, really appreciate it. Never expected, but always appreciated.
It could be all the extra sets of glasses. Throwing your depth off.
Yeah, Rockford Fish Keeping says, well, have to go. The fishing QT is dead now, and I have to take the tank down. I'll be lurking. Sorry you lost your fish, Rockford. Always a pleasure to see you. And hopefully that's the last one you lose for a while, my friend. But it happens to the best of us. Not that I'm the best of us, but if you've never lost a fish, you just haven't been in the hobby long enough.
Yep. Well, when you have a Brazilian fish, you lose a couple a day, it seems like. Or, you might lose one or two guppies every other day.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like fish stores, they come in and they've got, 1 or 2 or 3 dead fish, we go, oh my God, there's dead fish. Well, you've got 1,000+ fish in there, and fish that are constantly coming in from God knows what conditions. That's bound to happen, and a couple fish ain't bad. So it's going to happen.
A really old girl in the tank behind me that I know her days are numbered.
Yeah.
She's just looking so weak. Poor thing.
Maria Z says, James, I just wanted the pomp and circumstance. Well, there you go. Multi-tank addiction. Chris, my brother, good to see you, says, what would you do in my situation? Reseal the 300 or make an 800-gallon plywood tank? Given the issues with the previous reseals in your situation, Chris, I would probably just make a big plywood tank with the viewing panels. Just make sure you seal that sucker up good. That's not when you want leaking. 300's rough. 800's a disaster.
I don't see. Oh, there's Chris. I haven't seen him at all.
Atkins.
Hi, Chris.
Nature Aquariums is saying, I just noticed the glasses. When did that happen? I threw that on for the super chats. That was something I started doing to give people a laugh. If there's a super chat that goes up on the board, I throw the stuff on while that super chat's hanging out, just to bring people a smile. In this day and age, everybody could use a smile, right? And I'm not afraid to embarrass myself. No shame. So there we go.
You know what? Can I play devil's advocate on that 800 tank?
Yes.
800. Chris, make sure that you're going to live there for a while. Like, don't be thinking about moving somewhere else if you're going to make that big of a tank, because that tank is not going to be fun to move. And once you do try to move it, it's going to be more brittle than a normal tank because it's plywood and stuff. And I don't think you want to move a plywood tank.
Yeah. So what I would say, if that situation arose that you had to move a 800-gallon plywood tank, pull the glass panel out, scrap the plywood, and build a new one.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm just saying this is for anybody, not necessarily Chris. Maybe he's not wanting to move it ever, but that would be something you really want to consider because, that's a big decision, but it's an awesome decision.
Sorry, buddy. No, I think that would be very cool. One Dirty Platy is saying, Fish Repeat, we're doing water changes at the moment. I reached out, but no response. I should go back to the H2O. And he had also mentioned reaching out directly before. I guess I'm assuming that's in regard to the platy question previously brought up. Stephen the biologist says 50 fish club members in huge gym, all being apart with masks. I have to speak and lecture with a mask. Oh, that's no fun. At least you're all being safe, and I hope you still have a good time. Priscilla's got an idea here. Priscilla says, Pew, females probably have it and just not as visible because they got a larger gut. Treat the whole tank regardless. So there you go. That's
well said.
Definitely a good idea. I would as well treat the whole tank. Yeah, I don't know. That just kind of baffled me so much. We never even discussed treating it. It was just like, how could that happen?
Yeah.
Sean OOTD is here to remind everybody to set up a shell dweller tank, and had made a comment. Wasn't expecting that outfit, LOL. And 800-gallon shell dweller tank sounds good, doesn't it? Though.
You know what though? Think of the footprint. If it was only like 10 inches high.
Oh my goodness, that is a massive like horseshoe crab lagoon. I'd almost say a stingray bay, but it went a little deeper than 10 inches. But that's that would be crazy. Jessica Taylor, I have been there before. Jessica says, I went to set up a new tank this evening only to realize I don't have enough gravel. Sigh. Yeah, so show of hands, how many people has that happened to before you run out of substrate? Yeah, I had to wash, Mrs. Fever did help, a couple 100 pounds of substrate yesterday, and trying to get the better rack fully done, which I need to get back to as soon as this stream is over, which is in about 39 minutes. But yeah, it's no fun when you run out, and I think I'm going to run out before I get to the end. But I did run out of clean substrate, so I had to stop and go wash gravel and all that stuff because I was using the pea gravel from the hardware store, so it needs a rinsing before it goes in, generally speaking. Where did it go? Dragon Lair was saying moved to 350-gallon plywood tank twice, but it was made with 5/8 marine plywood. So yeah, I could foresee something, or I could see something like that. I'd be afraid, kind of like Ed mentioned, to move an 800-gallon plywood tank. One, it would be insane to do. And two, I don't know that I would trust it after moving it.
I don't know. Well, Chris is lucky. He's going to be probably doing it in his garage.
Oh, yeah.
There's a huge door to go through. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, if I've talked about doing, like, a giant one next to this fish room. James has seen how I've built this fish room. There's like space to do a whole nother room right next to it someday. And I've thought about putting a big window panel in that room and do one like that.
That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. But I mean, that's really far away. So
right. So we had a couple things. Let me throw this on here real quick. I'll get to that super chat here in just a second, just so you're getting your money's worth until I get there. Let me get back up here. There it is. Fishy Fun 57. Good to see you. Says, Ed, I still need to set up my 6x6x6 with 4-foot swamp with getting ready before snow flies. I don't know what you're setting up, but it sounds awesome and big, and I want to see it. A 4-foot sump. Got to be very cool from the sounds of it. Yeah, just Taylor says, need a new lid for another aquarium. We'll just do a pet car run tomorrow. There you go. I can't blame you there. She's saying she didn't need 50 pounds. Yeah, I buy the 50-pound bags of pea gravel and kind of have it hanging around. And sometimes I still run out, even with 150 pounds on hand. You never know. Rockford Fish Keeping said, had to come back. 800-gallon daffodil cichlid tank would be sweet. Nuke Fam, the babies raise the babies, and so on. That does sound pretty cool.
If I had a big tank like that, I think I'd go with datnoids. Because they're like a fish. Am I saying that right? Datnoid?
Yeah.
They're such a neat looking fish, but they need such a big area. But I really like them.
The upside to those is they take forever to grow out. They take forever to get big. They get massive, but it takes 15 years for them to get there.
Oh, I had no idea it took 15 years. Yeah,
They,
so that
they're
tank would be like, I'd have 4 of them in there.
Yeah, you'd be sitting there, you'd have these little guys, and you'd be expecting something like a red tail that you buy this long, and then a year later it's way out here, but they're still little things a year later, and you're going, well, that's 1,000 gallons of nothing.
I'd probably put the Bishers in there too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Chris Patterson says, Chattanooga Ed, Fisher and Fever, are you guys coming to the CCAC swap on the 27th? Tom will be there, but I'm trying to decide if I am going to take the day off work to go.
I think we're currently planning on it. I've got to find out when I'm having a heart surgery. So, and we also invited a special guest. We'll see if he comes or not. But he asked to come last time after we were already halfway there. So we might even have another special guest. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, and that would be cool. And he is a YouTuber, this special guest. So
yep.
That would be awesome. Lisa Perez, hello. Just how's it going, Chattanooga Ed and Fisher and Fever? It's going great here, Ed. How's it going over there, buddy?
Great.
All right. And Fantastic Freaks with the $5 super chat saying hello. Got a hairy puffer today. Very cool. Very cool. Never saw one in a store till today. Had to have him. Pufferfish thumbs up. Fantastic
Awesome.
Freaks. Thank you for the $5. Very cool find. I've not seen a hairy puffer, come to think of it. And Ed, we've been to a lot of aquarium stores. But let me thank you for the $5 super chat, Fantastic Freaks. Appreciate it, friend.
I've seen them, but not lately. The hard stuff has been hard to find. Like I'd like to set up a tank with a bunch of Amazon puffers, and I haven't even seen them. I think I've seen 2, and their guts were so like this. I didn't want to even get them.
I did see a Fahaka locally for the first time in a long time the other day. That surprised me. I was like, "What? You've got a Fahaka?" And I was like, "No, I don't. I don't have the tank set up for that." Multi-tank addiction. Chris is saying it's 10 foot by 4 foot by 3 foot, and it would be liquid rubber, so it should be. I should be able to move it. Just be careful if you ever do have to move it. And that's we're on to something that may not ever even happen. But I think that would be awesome personally. I had that plan years and years ago at a different house that did have a concrete floor on the ground floor, the basement, if you will. And one day I'd love to do that again. So I hope you do that. And I look forward to seeing that stuff on your channel if you do it. J-Dog is asking, if salt is bad for plants, does that include Epsom salt? I use it on my outdoor plants and they love it. So salt is one of those things that depends on how much you use. Plants, just like our fish, can adapt to a lot of things. I mean, you've got to figure most of the plants that we have in our aquariums aren't even grown underwater. Most of them are grown immersed or out of water, and then are converted over to be submersed and go into our aquariums. So plants can handle a lot more than I think we typically give them credit for. That being said, it's never a bad idea just to keep an eye on them and make sure that you're not irritating them if you're having to use salt. So I've used salt with live plants before and had no problems. I've heard people use salt with live plants before and, burn everything out or kill everything. I would say dosage is probably a big part of it. And then depending upon what plants you have, some plants, just like some fish, are going to react better to certain things than others.
Yep.
Get down through here. Ed, have you ever killed plants with salt, Ed? I guess that's the question, my friend.
I have not, but if I'm going to do it, it's going to be now because I've put a bunch of salt, aquarium salt in with some guppy grass up there. So, but right now it's looking good. I don't have a light on that tank either because I just don't want to stress the little fish out. I'm just trying to get them as relaxed as possible.
So I am trying to pull something up here real quick. I looked at it earlier and I've forgotten the number. The link is in the description of this video. And I'm mentioning that because Maria Z is throwing another $5 out. God love Maria. Says, come on, guys, let's get Ed to 1K so we can do this for him as well. And then she's got a party popper after it. Thank you, Maria. And I agree completely. Let's see where Ed is at. He's at 500 and change earlier last I looked. Now I'm typing 500. But the link to Chattanooga Ed's channel, I'm sure, is being dropped in the chat. And if you're watching this on the replay, it is in the description of the video so that you can go subscribe to Chattanooga Ed. 548 subscribers. I think we can do. We need to get this guy there. Plus, Ed will be able to live stream from his phone, and I know that's something that he's looking forward to being able to do.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it stinks to get to the pet store and not be able to live stream because you don't have 1,000 subscribers. Bleh. Words are hard.
Even though I am really guilty, a lot of times when I go out, we go into like group situations, I just enjoy having fun with everyone. And I normally put my phone away and let everybody else video because I'm just having so much fun.
I do the same. I look and go, oh, just like the trip with Kenny, most of that, I was like, well, Kenny's going to be doing live streams and Kenny's going to be recording. So I'll leave that to him and I'll enjoy other things. I'm trying to get better about that. So I did get some decent footage from Florida that I've still got to get sent out. The members saw a sneak peek. I've got a little video clip with Father Fish on the Miyaka River talking about it. That was really fun and cool. And it's even got live banjo music playing in the background, which I thought was kind of fun and fit the video. So that'll be coming out soon. Get back to where I was.
The moss tree is taking its time. We think that the moss is going to take up to 6 weeks, did you say, probably, James, to get used to being underwater?
It can take 4 to 6 weeks to transition from immersed to submerged.
And it's like I'm looking at it right now, and it's looking awfully red, but you can also see some green underneath.
And I'll say that's at least the disclaimer that Aquarium Co-op gives on their moss, and that's generally what I've heard. My moss is always submerged grown, so you don't have to worry about that transition.
It's in that tank right there.
I love looking at your tanks, buddy.
Well, thank you.
So we would love to see you at the CCAC. Sorry, Ed, go ahead.
I just said I do too. Like to look at my tanks.
I feel like I'm getting. Go ahead.
We also want to make sure that we let Chevy Fish know because she said she would have went up there. She knew we were going up there, so.
And Fish Tank Barn. Mike had mentioned he would have come down if he'd known it was going to be a thing. So it might turn into a bigger thing than before. Get a whole bunch of YouTube people up there. That'd be awesome.
That'd be super cool.
Let me roll through here. I completely lost where I was, just being honest. And I got streamers like all over the monitor right now. Rumble's Tay. Hey, Bill Witt, how are you? Says Rumble's Fish Room did some plywood and lined it with fiberglass. That can work. And then you've got the pond liner. There are a couple different options you can use for doing a plywood tank. Getting down through here. Thank you for dropping the link to Chattanooga's Ed's channel. He is an awesome guy, and he does deserve our support. The same way that you all are supporting here. 64 people watching and 56 thumbs up. I appreciate that very, very much. Always nice to have some thumbs ups in there. And if you don't like it, you can hit the thumbs down. Oh, we got 2 thumbs downs. All right, 2 people. I appreciate you as well. To me. We need more of Ed's room. Ed's fish room, just my opinion, says Maria Z. Absolutely, Ed. We need more of your fish room. We need some more videos. I think once we get some more Ed videos, Ed's gonna just fly past all of us on subscribers.
I don't know about that, but I've been, like I was telling myself yesterday. Well, I think it was in Anthony's fish room. I was like, really, I should be working on finishing some of these videos that I've made because I've got a mess of them. I've got the box opening from the last time we went to Indy still. I just haven't. The only thing I haven't done is made the thumbnail and write down all the names of the fish. In that whatever that thing is at the bottom. I'm very technical, guys.
Roxanne Powers has a very good point. It says Epsom salt is magnesium and will not harm your plants. Too much aquarium salt will harm your plants.
Very cool.
There you go. Very good point. Thank you for sharing that, Roxanne. I appreciate it.
That's
Lefty's got a valid point, but it is a terms of service violation, so I never tried it. But he says you can stream from your phone at under 1K if you do it through StreamYard, but YouTube doesn't like it. I don't know if they're still blocking people's channels for doing that. At one point they were, so I never touched it because people were having issues. But yes, that is a workaround. It works. It's also against the rules, so I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, thumbs downs mean you made it. Exactly. Once you start getting thumbs downs and you've got something besides just thumbs downs, that means you made it, you know? Hey, Donald's Fish Vibes. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, my friend. Appreciate you being here. I think I caught all of the highlighted things. Go back through here one more time. Somebody had a good, I think it was Dragonlair. There it is. Dragonlair said an 800-gallon Rift Lake Biotop tank with multiple species would be freaking awesome. I agree, Dragonlair. I do. Just about anything 800-gallon is going to be awesome, though.
Yeah.
I mean, an 800-gallon Shelly tank, an 800-gallon Guppy tank, 800-gallon Angel. I mean, just about anything 800 gallons. It's hard to screw that up.
Yeah. But you know what? If I could have any tank, I'd probably take that round tank that had all the neon tetras at Aquashella that just went in circles. And it also had all the rams. That thing was so cool.
Yeah. I didn't get to see it in person, but I've seen videos.
Yeah, I just saw the videos also. But I've thought if I ever see some type of big acrylic tank that I could cut, I would try to make it even.
I'm going to pull something up real quick just so that I can verify. Does anybody know? I don't think we have Aquamate this week. I think he was last week. But I do think we have Oddball. Is that right? Oddball going next with Amber? Or is it? Whose channel is it on? Is it on Amber's channel?
I would say it would be on Amber's Big City
Okay, there we
because
go.
Oddball is tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
I knew it was the Fish Keeper ladies, but I couldn't remember whose channel it was on. The lovely ladies of fish keeping. Let's take a look and see what we've got so we can start getting links out. I mentioned that because we're only 23 minutes away from the end of the stream and rolling it on to the next person. So I wanted to get that information. I don't see anything set up. Somebody finds it, please let me know.
Brad said that he had, can you go back up and see my heating question? So let's go to.
I'm looking. While you're looking for that, I'm going to keep going down through the new stuff popping up. Danican Aquatics saying, I will be dropping Ed's fish room soon. LOL. Oh, yeah, it is amazing. It absolutely is. Kenny, I'm glad that you were home. At least I think you're home safe now, if I'm not mistaken. I thought that you were headed back home after the Big J's tour.
Was he at Big J's today?
I think he popped up there at like 1 in the morning or something like that. Time eludes me anymore now that I'm not having to go to a 9 to 5 and I'm kind of working a fishy schedule. But it's always great to see you, Kenny. I look forward to seeing that video. And I had a blast with you, brother. Hashtag booty boys.
Okay, here's Brad's question. Question for all those that have the heater light flashing. Mine is an Aqueon Pro 100 watt in a 29-gallon tank. Is it too big for a 29 tank? So basically, I think he's saying he's wondering why the flashing light is going on, and he's thinking maybe 100 watts is too big for the 29. Well, which I think would be just right, wouldn't it?
It should. Here's the thing. The heater manufacturers, and I'm going to make some people mad here if they ever listen to this, have skewed things to reflect what they want to sell. I guess that's the best way to put it. So, for example, you can pick up one company's heater and they recommend 3 watts, per gallon. You can pick up another one and it's like 5 watts instead of 3. Whereas you can look at, 100-watt heater and one company says, well, it's suitable for this size tank. And the other company says, no, you need this bigger heater that's more expensive for that size tank. That being said, kind of given that range there, I mean, that I don't see why that heater would be too big at all. I really don't.
Does that Aquarium, does it always have a flashing light? Does anyone know?
That's what I'm trying to look up. Flashing lights, pro adjustable heater. Let's look, because I'm not familiar with that particular model. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, C23, Cyclist 23 says not too big at all. I had a 150 watt heater in my 29 gallon last year. So let's see. It's 100 watt. Adjustable heat settings, 68 to 88 Fahrenheit. Electronic thermostat accurate to plus or minus 1 degree. Fully submersible. Auto shut off when overheats. Resets when cools down. LED knob glows red when actively heating. Limited time warranty. Electronic thermostat with advanced gravity shut off technology. Ideal for aquariums up to 30 gallons.
Oh.
So, yeah. And I mean, I've got two 300 watt heaters in my Zebra Pleco tank, because I don't want to run the risk of a heater failing. And so I run a backup in there just to be safe. I have one that is kind of the core heater, if you will, that does most of the coming on and turning off. And then I have a backup in there just in case that can come on if the temperature starts to get too low. If you've got something like that where you've got a lot of money involved in it, it's not a bad idea to have a temperature probe set up that will monitor that and completely kill power so that you don't have the overheating issue like you mentioned. Because that's what I need to order one still. I'm here all the time, so I'm constantly keeping an eye on it. That would be a worst case scenario. Then you've got 600 watts of heater cranking full blast. If somehow miraculously both of those decided to stick on at the same time. But yeah, you should be fine with that heater. I don't see why not. Hey, Gnarly Fish Tanks, Joanna, how's it going? Appreciate y'all being here. Sarah Lynn Snow says, Fisherman Fever sent you an email showing my goldfish tank. It's a good example of what happens when someone who doesn't know how much they grow gets fair fish and a pleco that the LFS says you need. So I'm going to see if I can find that real quick.
Right, a lot of poop.
Yeah. I'm going to show this one first because T-Bone had asked me if I show off people's tanks, and I said sure, send me a picture and I'll see what we can do here. So let me do this. It says, "Hey Fisherman Fever, it's T-Bone. Here's a picture of my third attempt of a fish tank. Hope you like it." Lefty, I think you're going to bed. I've got like 15 tanks to water change as soon as this gets done, and I'm not having another 4 a.m. day. So I'm not doing the anabantoid today. Share the screen. Sorry, I saw Lefty had asked me about going over anabantoid with you.
Yeah, I saw that too. I just wanted to say hi to Dead Fred.
And we will find it.
Because Fred rhymes with Ed.
Application window. That's what I need. There we go. Let's share this. So this right here.
Ooh, that looks nice.
Let's see if it does. It looks very, very nice. I like the setup. I like the way you made the little rock cave there. The driftwood looks good. I love. I'm assuming the fish you're eating, the way that they're all clustering toward the center there. It's a really nice shot, and I like the way you did the plants. Very, very cool tank. T-Bone.
They could be
fighting. I appreciate you sharing it. They could be. They could be. So this is something I had considered doing. You all let us know in the chat, or if you're on the replay in the comments below, if you all would like to see a series where Ed and I look at pictures of your tanks and kind of, give our opinions, or you can ask questions along with it. Or if you just want to share your tanks and show them off to people. Maybe we do a series where on a live stream, we, depending upon how many entries or how many people, I guess I should say, send in stuff, we pull them up and we can look through them and we could get to see some new tanks that we haven't seen before.
Heck yeah, that'd be fun.
I think so. So if you all like that idea, let me know. and then we can just have those pictures emailed to me, and then I can pull them up on the stream and we can take a look at them.
Looks like he's got
there we go.
platies and tiger barbs.
Nice looking setup.
Now those yellow guys, are they like an albino barb or something?
I think so. I think they are. Judging by the body shape and what pattern I can work out on them.
Yeah. That's
but
cool.
I can't tell if the eyes are red or not. They almost don't look like they've got the albinism, in terms of having the red eyes. But a very nice tank. T-Bone, I appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you very, very much for that.
And check it out. The light's on his heater.
Gotta love it. All right, I'm going to pull that off there so I can pull up the other one. Here we go from Sarah Lynn Snow. Says there is before and after pictures, water got clear and parameters balanced. So let's look at the before here. So we've still got about 15 minutes or so. So why not, right? Let's do this. Something a little different.
Golden barbs.
Oh, very nice. So this is the before. She had asked about the cloudy water and the bacterial bloom and whatnot. There we go. You can definitely see the cloudiness to the water. And yeah, look at those goldfish. I'm sure that those were little bitty guys when they came from the fair. Let's drop this off of here and let's look at the after. That's not the button I'm looking for. There we go.
Miles says they're albino tiger barbs. So it's probably that's one weird thing about fish is wherever you go, it's like the language changes for the names. It makes it really confusing.
Yeah. That is one. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think it's because they go with the Latin names and nobody likes Latin names.
And that's one of the things about the common names. Is like you said, they could be 5 different, they could have 5 different common names for the same fish. Yeah, you can actually see the wall. You can see behind. You can actually see through the tank there. You can see the sponges and stuff. So it's definitely clearing up. That is a whole lot of goldfish.
Yep.
Little golden fat footballs. Very nice.
And unfortunately, they're just going to keep getting bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. So like Sarah Lynn said, there's your warning, if you will, for getting the little fish from the fair. And of course, common plecos get massive. I'm glad to see that they're starting to not be nearly as popular in the hobby. I love them. They're awesome fish, but they just get too big for most people. So you find my chat back here again.
Those were pretty nice goldfish for fair goldfish.
Yeah, they were very nice.
On fins. Yeah, they were pretty nice.
Still in you. How's it going? Good to see you, my friend. Sarah Lynn Snow said less than 2 inches. Yeah, so those little fatties will grow up. Dead Fred, what's going on, my friend? All right, there's where albino tiger barbs. So I'm at least caught up to there. Donald Fish 5 saying goldfish need massive filtration. Yeah, that is one of the few circumstances that I will say a canister filter would be nice to have. Generally, I'm not a huge canister fan. But that's one of those instances that even a cheap canister filter, like a Sun, I'm not necessarily saying go spend hundreds of dollars on an FX6, but even a cheap canister would definitely help.
Or if you ever want to do an outdoor pond, if you have a yard, you can buy one of those. It's like he's pushing his foot towards my face.
At least you're not trying to knock your computer off again.
Yeah, before the stream, I was feeding the fish, and he tried to literally knock the whole computer was almost off, about to hit the floor.
And see, I didn't realize it, so I didn't start hollering at Ed or anything because Ed had its back turned. I just saw it going like this, and I thought the cat was just closing the laptop monitor down, closing the top of the laptop, and then Ed turns around and it's like, oh no! I'm like, sorry, buddy, I would have said something. I thought it was just closing it.
Yeah, it was like a couple of cables were wrapped around the cardboard box behind that was keeping it from falling.
That's the fun behind the scenes stuff that you all don't get to see that goes on before we go live. Big J, what's going on, my friends? Says Fish Root Fever and Ed, I need help naming this species of guppy. My last video update.
Ooh.
Ed's going to be the better person for naming guppies. I actually need to get Ed over to my house so that he can tell me what some of my guppies are.
That'd be awesome.
Because I need some of them. I need to come up with names, and some of them I'm sure are already named. Sarah Lynn Snow, I completely understand. Says have a small budget each month, so I'm working on buying a little at a time to get bigger accommodations. Absolutely, completely understand that. No problem there.
Hey, Big J. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were Big J. Pop a link to your thing, and then we'll go there after we're done here.
Absolutely.
Video.
And there are some budget-friendly things that you could do as well. They're not always the prettiest thing. Things like cheap do-it-yourself sump with a simple pump, stuff like that. I've got your email now, so I'll email you, and I'll see what we can come up with. It would be low or no cost to help you out. But I think you're doing an awesome job. We could all see the changes so far. Just keep on keeping on with that, and I think the fish will do well.
And I wasn't telling you to put them in a pond now. I was just like, once they grow out of your tank, instead of just buying bigger tanks, that's when maybe a pond might be a good idea.
So Chewy wants to know how the guppies are doing, Ed. Go ahead.
Oh, how about we ask you how they're doing?
Oh, the guppies are doing phenomenally well. I actually put them in the tank with my black Neocaridina from Lucas Brett's because that was the safest place for them. So I'm growing them out there, and then they're going to move over into a 20 long. I've got, hey, Crystal's Pested Plants, how are you? I've got, I bought them as purple moss gals, but Ed, I was going to ask you, purple moss gals generally just have purple, right? They don't usually have teal and blue in them, or do they?
It might just depend on how pure they are. So a lot of purple moss gals, look like blue moss gals. It's just they're so dark.
That's
and like you'll see a lot of green moss gals with a lot of blue in them too.
That's what I wanted to ask, how pure the strains really were when people called them purple moss gals or green moss gals.
And we may have to let Chewy decide if he thinks they're high enough quality for him. I know I'm going to, probably with James' help, because I've never actually shipped fish. I guess I shipped a betta. But other than betta, I've never shipped guppies. So maybe you could try to help me send some to Jesse all the way in Hawaii.
Absolutely.
He'd like to mix a couple because he's got green moss gals. And then I guess Anthony might have something that Chewy wants him to mix. But I can't afford to mail them everywhere, Chewy, because shipping costs a ton.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does, especially with the way that shipping's been going lately. And then you have to worry about trying to overnight, which is ridiculously expensive. Or are they going to sit in the mail for, a week and a half if I send them priority? Swampy Acres, how's it going? I thought I said hi. I did not. Appreciate you being here. Miles, good to see you. Says, on my way home on the bus. Almost home. Just 2 more stops. Then, ding, I'm off the bus. That is awesome.
That is nice. Somebody was asking for Miles yesterday in last night's stream. Jeepers.
I did want to let you all know, because everybody absolutely loved seeing the baby cribensis. We've got another drop of baby cribs. At about 1:30 this morning, I was finishing up water changes, and I knew that Mama was getting ready to have some. And then, sure enough, I looked and we got 20 or 25 little baby cribensis, little bitty babies. Still got their little yolk sacks there. Instead of waiting like last time and leaving them in there until I don't know if it was he or she, but until they started getting eaten, I went ahead and pulled them all last night. So I'll do an update on that sometime in the next week or so. I'll put that out so you all can see it. But I've got a couple other videos I need to actually publish before then. There we go. I opened way too much stuff. Close that. If anybody has a link for the next live stream coming up in about 5 minutes, feel free to drop that. I did a little bit of searching around while we were live here and didn't see a scheduled one. Chewy LTD says, thing about green and purple, they are at the opposite ends of the color spectrum. Fisherman fever, green is the recessive. So there you go. So yeah, so like the purples I have, some of them have some like really bright greens. Quite a few of them have blue, like really dark blue, especially when you get them outside, like they're in a tub right now. They're gorgeous fish. I just don't know what he's actually looking for in terms of the genetics project he had in mind.
And somehow, wow. Big J, I clicked his video in our chat bar, and now he's in there, but I don't know how to get back to chat. But he just showed he has 20 tubs out there. It's amazing.
Oh man, I'm jealous. I've got 4, and they're just the big Tupperware totes, but still, it's still fun. I had to do something.
It's just where my chat normally is. It's just a video this big, and I can't get rid of it.
You have to close it and then go back and pop your chat back out. Fortunately, we've only got 5 more minutes, so I do want to say some thank yous real quick before we get any further along. That way I'm not covering up anybody else's time if we do have somebody that's coming up next, because we normally do. A huge thank you to JDog67, our newest member, became a member tonight, which means that we have another emoji option available for the members. I will jump on posting a members only post for that so we can try and figure out what you all want to see next. Let's go over here. I know I've got a lot of thank yous to say to Maria Z tonight. Let me click this button here. Thank you to the super chatter, super sticker, wonderful people. I appreciate you all supporting. That means a lot, and it really does help. So it's never expected, but always very, very much appreciated. Grumpy Mike's Fish with the $1 poop emoji. Maria Z with the $5 super chat. Priscilla throwing down a $5 super chat tonight. Maria Z with another $5 super chat. Fantastic Freaks coming in there with the $5 super chat. And Maria Z again with another $5 super chat. Once again, encouraging everybody to get Ed to 1,000 subscribers, because he deserves our support. I don't know that we deserve to have him because he's an awesome guy, but he deserves our support.
He's the being goof.
Let's see. Yeah,
23 tanks. Next year, I'm hoping to move to 13. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You were good. 23 outside tubs.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's awesome. BJ and David Palmer family says, at least I got the last 4 minutes. Hi, y'all. Bye, y'all. Question mark. Appreciate you swinging by. Hey, I really, really do. It means a lot. I mean, we've got 75 people watching now and 73 thumbs up, so that is phenomenal. It's stuff like that that tells YouTube to maybe show us a little bit of love around here. So I do very much appreciate when you all swing by. YouTube loves it, and I love it. I love talking to everybody. I love seeing you all. Last week, I wanted to say, I didn't realize it at the time. Last week was our first live stream of having over 100 viewers sustained on the Thursday show. So thank you all very, very much for that. That was super cool. Broke that milestone. Smashed it. And it's because of you all. It's not because of me. Not even because of this awesome guy. Because of you all. So thank you all very much for that. About 2 minutes left. Ed, do you have any wrap-up thoughts that you wanted to throw out there?
Nope. I remember it was Big Tank Hank looking for Miles. And so I got one message done today. And thank you, everybody, for showing up. We had a great time, learned a lot. I'm going to still investigate if male mollies are more likely to get parasites than females. But I kind of liked what Priscilla said. It's the females are probably just a little more round, so we can't tell. But I'm going to still look it up. Might as well.
Absolutely. So once again, on Monday's stream, which is a midday stream for those of you that can't make the later ones, we've got Guppy Guru is going to be on as our special guest. And then next Thursday on Aquaholics Anonymous, I'm going to steal one out of Ed's books. We're going to look at a list of top 10 aquarium plants, and we're going to discuss whether we agree or disagree with those, and maybe add some of our own. You'd be surprised to know what's up towards the top of that list. So be on the lookout for that. Stilling is saying anywhere after here. So there are a couple different people that are live, but the regularly scheduled ones are not. I think somebody said Roe is live. I feel like I need to give the disclaimer that it's not family. It's not. It's not child ears friendly. I feel like I need to give that disclaimer. I'm gonna send people over there. Nothing against Roe, but we keep it pretty clean on here. So I hate to send people over without a disclaimer on that. But it's time to go. I appreciate all of you again. Ed, have you figured out your saying? I know you've been working on it.
I think I work on it every time we get to this point. But don't be afraid to get your hands wet. Get in that tank and have some fun.
All right. I like it.
That was awesome. Better. I'm working on it, guys.
Again, thank you, members, moderators, super chatters, lurkers, listeners, people catching on the replay, including Tampa Tom and CJ Black. I love you all. I appreciate all of you. And until next time, you already know it.